You're listening to the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast, and I'm Lou Temlett. I'm guessing you're having a good day because either you've been on the mats, considering getting on the mats, or maybe you're organising your next women's open mat. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When you want to build new friendships with people that you don't know, start training Jiu Jitsu. I'd like to welcome Jolie Boyle to my podcast. Jolie, hello, how are you?
I'm very good, Lou. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. Life is very busy at the moment, and it's just really lovely to have a moment and have a conversation with someone like you.
Thank you.
So tell me, Jolie, you're a black belt, but where did it all begin?
So I was 33 years old, and a friend of mine at the time who I was doing kickboxing with, she had been to a London Women's Open mat. She said, the next one you've got to come to. It's so good. You'll love jiu-jitsu. So the date came up. I think it was like she had told me on a Wednesday, and then the event was on the Sunday. So I went down to Decathlon. I bought myself a judo gi, and
Nice.
yeah, I just got on the mats and spent 3 hours getting beaten up. Didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I loved it. And there was a lady there who's, I think now a husband. He was running a club in Colchester, Essex. So that wasn't too far from where I was living at the time. It was about 15 miles away. So it took us 20 minutes to get there. So I was doing Muay Thai at the time. Yeah. Not so much kickboxing anymore, but I was continuing with the Muay Thai. So I was just going once a week to what was Carlson Gracie Essex at the time. So it doesn't exist anymore, but they had different offshoots.
Yeah.
So so that's where it started. I was 33 years old, and I've just had an incredible journey. Over the last 14 years, I think it is now, coming up to 14 years.
Okay, I won't do the maths immediately. I'm sure somebody
47. I'm 47.
Okay, I'm 47 as well. High five.
Yeah.
Okay, so I started when I was 45, training jiu-jitsu. No previous experience in any martial arts. But obviously there are often a lot of students that come through. I'm based in Bath, so we have lots of 16, 17, 18-year-old females and lots of young guys that come through. And at some points during the week, they can be quite challenging as relatively new white belts, because they have all the energy and all the power, all the strength, and all the determination, it seems. How did you find that scenario if there were kind of a cohort of younger athletes, jiu-jitsu practitioners at that time?
Well, there were a lot of under 20-year-olds. So there was a young guy, I think he was about 12 or 13 at the time. He's actually a very, very well-known black belt now, a very high-level competitor. And I think he had a green belt at the time. And they did. They had a lot of energy, not so much strength, because they was kind of small and a little bit weedy, but they had loads of energy.
Yeah.
It was okay to deal with them. It wasn't too bad. But I found the guys that were in their 20s were a little bit harder to spar with or train with, just because they had the energy, they had the strength. And it was totally different to what I had.
I think that's the real difference, that from a physical perspective, with potentially the guys coming through, they have had that, forgive me, I'm not very good with biology, the testosterone, the kind of boost of energy, whether that's assisted or not in any way, and kind of females in the space, actually we're there to maybe find friendships or build our self-defense from kind of nothing to something, or maybe a little something to more of what we might not have had. Were there lots of women starting training at the same time as you?
There was myself and my friend who got me into jiu-jitsu, and there was an older lady actually. I'd say she was about 10 years older than myself.
Yeah,
And there was another younger girl, and the coach's girlfriend. She was training. She was quite a high level. I think she was a purple belt at the time.
yeah,
So, and the coach was a brown belt. And yeah, so not many women, but
yeah,
they'd all gone to this women's open mat. So it was nice to go there and then see familiar faces, but they didn't continue with it. And I have
okay,
seen that quite often with women. They drop off
yeah,
at some point. I've taught classes in the past. I teach now as well, and women put everything else first before
yeah,
jiu-jitsu,
yeah,
which is, it's a shame because I do put other things before jiu-jitsu, but I quite often I can manage it. I can balance everything
yeah,
out, and I know that jiu-jitsu is really good for me. There's going to be those days when I really need it. So
yeah,
that email that you need to send, it's fine. You can send it after jiu-jitsu. You need to go
yeah,
and do that first. But there's a lot of people who put their life before jiu-jitsu, and
yeah,
really they could probably do with going, get rid of a
yeah.
bit of stress.
I think that's, I want to reference, first of all, the 14 years ago, um, women's open mats. Women's open mats is not a new thing, but we talk about jujitsu with very much a kind of male dominated environment. But if there were women's open mats happening 14 years ago, then this is nothing new. We're just continuing the
No,
legacy that was created for us to continue, which
yeah,
actually is quite, empowering in some ways.
yeah, they were quarterly, so every 3 months we would go to these open mats if we could. Um, there were often about 15 women, possibly a little bit more,
Yeah,
depending on where it was. But that was it. That was all the open mats. But
yeah,
now you've got I don't know, a gym in Greenwich, and then there's a gym in West London, and they're doing. I think it was in October.
yeah.
I think we had 5 Saturdays in October, and 3 of those Saturdays there was an open mat, or 3 of the weekends there was an open mat.
Yeah,
So they're not so scarce anymore. They're very
that,
common. So even if there are open mats where there's only 10 or 15 women there, well, that's fine because there's 3 others that are happening in the
yeah,
same month. But I think back then it was quite scarce. It was harder
yeah,
to find these open mats. There was less women training, obviously,
yeah,
less women competing,
yeah,
probably less women competing because even when I went to the Europeans as a white belt, I fought as I think I was 34 or 35.
yeah.
I fought in the adult division because there was no masters for women. They only
Okay.
had adults, and it wasn't long before then that they didn't. I think they merged the white and the blue belts, and then it was purple, brown,
Wow.
and black. They merged all of those, and then eventually they separated them all just to
Yeah.
give a bit more of an advantage for those
I
poor white belts.
I know. I do think sometimes they should merge. I mean, whilst merging white and blue belts could be 1 year or no experience to like maybe 3 years experience in one category. Sometimes we want just more people. Certainly, when we're registering for competition as a female, there aren't that many in our divisions often, and just to go and have that experience. But actually, on the flip side of that, if you can make it to an open mat, go and do that as well, or instead of, depending on your kind of preference for competing or not
Yeah.
competing quite so much.
Yeah. I meet a lot of people at the open mats and I ask them, do you compete? And
Mm,
some people just say, no, I don't compete. The way that I test myself is
yeah,
going to an open mat. Because even though you're not getting that pressure from
yeah,
the competing, you've competed. So the competition power and pressure that you experience is totally different. Whereas if you're just going to like go and tap
yeah,
hands, bump fists with somebody, and you could probably try your technique of the week that you've been working on all week in the gym, but you wouldn't do that in a competition. So it
yeah,
is a nice way to test your jiu-jitsu.
one of the things that came up for me then was, if you're at an open mat, there would I'm not in the mindset to really go for it at an open mat. If it's someone I don't know, I would always kind of test the ground very lightly before I kind of, dialed up the intensity and that I'm going to armbar you or choke you. Um, do you feel like open mats are a bit tamer in that sense, or do you observe people still really going for it on open mats?
Yeah, I think it depends where you are. I went to the Enyo Open Mat just recently,
Oh
and
yes.
I got there a little bit late, and everybody was already rolling, so I was cold, and I was quite keen to get involved and roll with somebody. And I think I called out a purple belt and I said, would you mind if we did a light roll? Because I'm
Yeah.
not warmed up really. And she was so gracious, so lovely.
Oh,
And at the end of the roll, she said, was that okay? And I said, yeah, of course it was lovely. It was fine. Thank you. And everybody I rolled with, there was a blue belt. She called me out and she said, do you mind if I ask you some questions as we're
wow.
rolling? And I always say to people at my open mats, I say, just call out anybody. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't need to wait for the higher belts to call you out. Just ask anybody. And she was so lovely. And we stopped and I told her, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. And we had some really, really good rolls. We ended up, I think we did about 3 or 4 rolls together. But there
Oh
was other
wow.
people. And I just didn't find that people were going full force with me. I thought that was really nice. But then I've been to other open mats where I'll be honest, they're in London. In London, they just want to kill me. They want to submit the black belt. So I think it really depends where you are in the
Okay. All
UK.
right. All right. Okay. I've got this image of creating kind of an intensity map. I'm not going to go there, but it sounds like, use your own initiative when you go to open mats, and
Mm.
check out whether it's okay to have a certain type of role. Um, yeah, maybe I need to dial it up a bit, Jolie. I think I need to go in and go, if I'm not competing, I'm not quite in that um, time frame of having availability to compete and kind of be usually at the end part of a day for competitions in lots of different
Mm.
locations, having responsibilities. But I'd like to go back to the importance that um, anyone maybe puts on jiu-jitsu over other elements of their life. How have you balanced it with work, and your kind of home life and the jiu-jitsu? Because obviously you've prioritized probably a fair amount to get to your black
Mm.
belt. But talk to me about some of the priorities and some of the journey through from your early white belt days to your black belt.
A lot of people say to me, oh, you put so much effort into everything that you do and you do so much, you've got such a busy life. But there's one thing that I don't do, and I don't watch television. I think that's a big part of people's lives that they
Yeah,
waste. I can't remember. I have got a television. It's in the living room, and I can't remember the last time I put it on. So sometimes, if I want to chill out, I'll put it on and just watch
yeah,
a film or something on Netflix. But I think that's a big part of people's lives that they put into something.
yeah,
It's a time waster.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong, you can learn stuff from TV, it's fine. But I balance everything very well. I balance my life well. I write lists. I write timed lists. It's going to sound ridiculous.
I'm sure
I
some of
do
us
get a
can
lot of
relate.
I do get a lot of gratification from ticking off everything that I've
Good.
done. Just a minute ago, I was writing my list for tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah, I do feel like I'm a very organised person, and time wise as well.
Yeah.
I do have a job. I do have a career. I run my own company. I run my own kickboxing club as well. So I have a good structure in my day. Jiu-jitsu is mainly an evening, so my work is in the day. Home life as well. I prioritise doing the chores today, kind
Oh, well
of.
done.
But yeah, no, I feel like I'm a very organised person, and that's probably how
Yeah.
I've managed to do this.
Yeah.
I have a lot of discipline as well in myself, and I know that going to jiu-jitsu is going to make me feel better. I may not feel like going, but they went even going to the strength and conditioning gym I think it was about a week ago. I was having a particularly bad day, and I just pushed myself. But it's that discipline from martial arts that
Yeah.
makes you go to the gym. And one of the ladies at the gym, she said, "Oh, how are you doing today?" And I went, "Oh, don't ask. I'm having a day. I'm having a really bad day." So she went, "Go train. Just go train it out." So I did. I
Yep.
lifted some weights, and that's what I do in jiu-jitsu. I went and did some sparring afterwards, and I
Yep.
trained it all out, and I had a much better day. So I
Good.
know how this is going to make me feel, and I need to do that.
Yeah.
It's like if I eat something really bad for me, I'm going to feel like rubbish at the end of
Yep.
it. I want it, but I feel like rubbish. So I stay away from those things. It's the discipline of martial arts
Okay.
that helps you just get things done.
Do you think you had that discipline before you started jiu-jitsu, or has jiu-jitsu added to that discipline mindset?
I think I think it's added to it because my life before jiu-jitsu, I was very much a workaholic. Still am a workaholic. I think it's just added to it. Yeah, I've always worked for myself. Well, most of the time
Yeah.
anyway. So if you don't work, you don't get paid, and your bills don't get paid. If you're not doing a particularly good job at something, there's nobody to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
So you need to have the discipline to
Mm.
go out and get more clients. This is my day job. Get more
Yep.
clients, get more staff. Just yeah, it's you have to have that discipline. So I think jiu-jitsu has just added to
Yeah.
what's already instilled in me.
That's that sounds incredibly healthy from a mindset as well as a physical perspective. Having that accountability, maybe it's kind of gone from that discipline to accountability. That it absolutely stops at you, whether it's your business or jujitsu. It's you and you alone. Nobody else is responsible for getting you to the gym or making you train. You have to find that energy within yourself and know
Yeah.
what's good for you.
It's like competing as well.
Mm.
I compete on a regular basis. Probably not so much now, being a high level, because there's less people to compete against.
Yep.
But I've gone to a competition where I've not trained the way that I should, and there's nobody to blame but
Yeah.
myself at the end of it.
This is a Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. Go and check out the latest video clips over on jiu.jitsu.lu on Instagram. And as you're listening or watching on your favourite podcast platform, I'd really appreciate you dropping the show a rating and a review. Today, I'm having a conversation with Jolie Boyle. Jolie, thank you so much for talking about women's open mats, which we'll come back to later, and the kind of progress from white to black belt, and about the accountability and kind of discipline that you've instilled or kind of created throughout your life to get you to where you are today. Now, we connected on the back of the White Basement Pod with Jason Mueller. So he was a great host to be interviewed by. You've also been on his podcast, is that correct?
Yeah, I've actually been on there 3 times.
Have you?
Yeah, I
You-
went on there like April last year, and then I January, and then I went with Rosa Walsh as well. So yeah, it's we've got a lot to talk about.
I love that. I love the fact that, podcasts have guests coming back. I always invite every single guest, as I will you, to return and speak again, because I think it's really important to follow the journeys of individuals like yourself over time, because things change, things shift. But there were a number of things that kind of brought us together, and I'm really grateful that we've had time to chat about life. Now, we've both had experiences with relationships in the past that have been quite difficult to deal with. And before we started recording, you spoke a bit about your journey through kind of the kind of mid part of your jiu-jitsu journey. Would you be happy to share some more now?
Yeah, of course. It was when I was a purple belt. I started dating somebody who I dated many years before, but my gut instinct said, no, no, it's not right. And then they reconnected with me. It was a very vulnerable time in my life. I was still grieving the death of my dad. I was still training jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu was amazing. It helped me through all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very when you go and train jiu-jitsu, you don't think of anything else. So it was a good escape from the sadness. It was so sad losing my
Yeah.
dad. So this person came into my life, and we started dating again, and everything seemed really good. Everything was fine, and then there was some issues issues that come up, and it was, oh, you're going training again. Oh, okay, we can't go out because you're going training again. And I was thinking, okay, I do go and train a lot because I like it. It's good, it's healthy, it's
Yeah.
therapy. This person was a bit of a budding actor, and they had a script to learn. It was over Easter weekend, and the Thursday before Good Friday, they said, "Oh, would you help me with my script?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, sure. I'm going to go to jiu-jitsu tonight because I've worked so hard. I haven't
Yeah.
stopped, and I haven't actually been training. It would be 9 days without training, and that is like an eternity
Yep.
for me. So I needed to go on the mats."
Yeah.
And they just kicked off and just went into one, and I just couldn't understand it. I was thinking,
Yeah.
oh my God, like me going to jiu-jitsu is causing arguments. And
Mm.
they had that whole weekend to learn their script, and they didn't learn it for the weekend, for the Monday, the Tuesday after Easter.
Yeah.
And every point of that weekend, I said, come, let's learn your script. No, no, no. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. I was in the mood on Thursday. So anyway, that was that. It was my fault. They didn't get the part, and so on. And then there was lots of other times when jiu-jitsu seemed to get in the way, and the relationship was violent, but not in a way that it was physically hurting me, but in a
Yeah.
way that things got thrown, and words, horrible, nasty words,
Yeah.
were spoken to me. And I remember sitting on my bed and my phone had just been thrown at the wall when it was smashed to pieces. It's an iPhone as well. And I just thought, what is this? This
Mm.
person's telling me that they love me. My mum and dad were very much in love. They had a beautiful marriage. They was together 42 or 43 years before my dad passed away.
Yeah.
And I remember that day I sat on my bed and I said, Dad, what is this? I talked to my dad quite a bit. What is this? Is this love? What is going on? Like,
Yeah.
give me some answers here. And in the next breath, some things got thrown, and I just thought, this is not right.
Yeah.
This is so alien to me. This is not love, but he's telling me that he loves me. So it went on
Yeah.
and on and on, and to the point where it got so bad that he did actually push me over, and in my kitchen at the time, I had some slate floor tiles, and there was a little bit uneven. And
Yeah.
when he pushed me over, he, I think he thought I was trying to get past him. He pushed me over. He was a very big guy. He was 6'2" and very strong. And I fell over, and my glute went on the corner of one of the tiles, and it was like as if my glute muscle had punctured, and
Oh
I've
my
never
gosh.
felt that horrible pain in all my life.
Wow.
And I called the non-emergency line, and they said to me, you need to go to the hospital. So I text my mum, I text my brother. We was in like a family WhatsApp group, and I said, please don't phone me, just come and get me and I'll
Yeah.
meet you outside. So I went to the hospital. I told them exactly what happened. I was really honest with them.
Yeah.
And they said, would you mind if we do this questionnaire? We do it with everybody who comes in. And I
Yeah.
did this questionnaire, and she said, you're one question away from being high risk domestic violence. You need to
Yeah.
report this man, and you need to get him arrested, and he needs to stay away from you. And I didn't want to
Yeah.
report him. I didn't want to report him because I thought, oh no, we don't need to do this. He's not going to
Yeah.
be, he's not going to do anything crazy again. So I just told him to leave. He'd hurt me. And I got him to leave.
Yeah.
A week later, he came back. He was very drunk, and I let him in stupidly. And he smashed up my laptop. He went to smash up my phone. He stole my car keys. He was really drunk.
Wow.
And he stole my car. I had two cars at the time. He stole my car, and I called the police, and they pulled him over. I did press charges, and we went to court, and I had to face him in court.
Wow.
He blatantly lied. It was a really interesting time of my life, and I did question, why am I going through this? What is
Yeah.
happening? And I learned about narcissistic personality disorder and what those people do to they basically they prey on vulnerable people when they come into your life. And when you've got your life together,
Yeah.
have a good job. I run my own businesses.
Yeah.
I've got my own place. I own my own place. So when they come into your lives, they don't have those things, so they want to break them down.
Yeah.
I have a good circle of friends. I have jiu-jitsu. I have great social life. They don't
Yeah.
like that. They don't have it, so they want to break it down. So thankfully, I got away from that. But it's really interesting finding out why they came into my life.
Yeah.
And since then, I've had friends who have gone through that. And
Yeah.
I've just been totally honest with them. I said, this is going to happen to you. They are
Yeah.
going to do that. And I
Yeah.
wish that people had said to me, he's going to do that to you. This is the
Yeah.
kind of person he is. Because afterwards, a few friends or acquaintances, they said to me, oh, yeah, he was like this, and he was with this person, and he did that to them. And I think,
Yeah.
why didn't you tell me? Why were
I
you not
know.
honest? So I'm a very honest person, and I
Yeah.
will tell people exactly how it is.
Yeah.
So giving my honest opinion or for my friends who don't want to hear that,
Yeah.
I'm just giving that, and there you are.
Yeah.
There it is. That's what's going to happen. Like it or lump it, that's what's going to happen, and it
Yeah.
does. It does
Yeah.
happen. I've got a friend at the moment who's going through a situation, and she's not listening. But I can
Yeah.
only give my advice from my experience,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Thank you for
it's
sharing
hard.
that.
It's okay. It's fine. I've come through it now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I've got over it. It still upsets me,
Yeah.
but I was in this situation. Churchill says, when you're going through hell, keep going. And
Yeah.
you do, you come out the other side, and it's
Yeah.
fine. It was a chapter of my life that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from that. And there's
Yeah.
been people come into my life since then, and I've spotted it straight away and just
Yeah.
nipped it in the bud.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm really pleased to hear that. One of the things that came up for me when you were speaking so openly and honestly was the kind of concept and mindset of being present and having
Mm.
intuition and instinct. When we train Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, we can't be anything other than present and have our own intuition. You know when you've
Mm.
given up the armbar, you know when you're about to be choked, you know when certain moves are about to be pulled on, even maybe kind of halfway through kind of white belt and kind of the early stages. But actually in life, unless we've learnt those skills and abilities that we learn in jiu-jitsu, to be able to bring that intuition into our personal lives feels
Yeah.
like such a valuable thing, to the point where everybody should train Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and apply it to the rest of their
Yeah.
personal life, as a matter of course, to keep ourselves
I
safe.
think so.
Mm,
I think so. There's been so many occasions where I didn't trust my gut
yeah,
and it's got me in trouble or
yeah,
something's happened. And yeah, but it is. I do think that
mm,
jiu-jitsu gives you this superpower.
yeah,
It gives you this opportunity to trust your gut. And
yeah,
there was a time when actually when I was going through that domestic abuse,
mm,
my mind was elsewhere,
yeah,
and I literally tapped hands, bump fist. I wasn't really feeling jiu-jitsu that day. I went to pass the guard of somebody and my little finger went out and it snapped my hand. Um, and I thought, oh, it's okay. It's dislocated. It's fine. I'll be fine. I'll just sit out of this round. But carried on and
yeah,
realised it was really hurting me. So,
yeah.
but I should
Gosh,
have. There's times when you really shouldn't train, and if your
yeah,
mind is just
yeah,
wandering all the time, it's better to just sit on the sidelines, watch everybody roll. You're going to get as much
yeah.
benefit as if you more benefit if you actually try and roll and you're having a really bad day.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I've been mindful of, is if your head is not there, actually it's okay to say no to training that day. We often give ourselves such a hard time, with the dedication and accountability. We want to be there. We want to be doing everything for ourselves or our family or whatever. But actually some days we need to just listen just to
Well, I think
ourselves.
there's so many people who would just come and one of my jiu-jitsu lady students, before her first competition, she came to the class the day before, and I
Yeah.
said, "What are you doing? Aren't you resting?" And she went, "Oh, I'll just be home worrying." So I thought I'd just come and just be here. So
Yeah.
she was just there, and
Yeah.
sometimes that's a good thing because it takes your mind off of other things. But you're there and you're in that. You're still in the present moment. You're surrounded
Yeah.
by your friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes there's those days when you can just go there and be
Yeah.
rather than train.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, showing up the fact that we've made the effort to get out and be there, that's one step closer to actually training. I have a number of responsibilities, as do many of the listeners and everybody else, but actually we have to give ourselves some element of reward for showing up
Mm,
whenever we can, and
yeah.
just getting through the day, because
But it
sometimes
keeps with that, it keeps the discipline as well.
yeah.
I'm the worst person for going lifting weights. I always have lots of breaks, as in breaks in like 3, 4, sometimes 5 or 6 weeks,
Okay,
where I
I
just
was I
don't go and
was
lift any weights.
I was imagining you like doing like 2 sets and then standing there with a selfie or propping up the phone.
No, no. I would have breaks. Maybe if I'm training for a competition, I'll have my set routine like 6 weeks before you have the competition, and then you're like, oh, actually, I've got this little niggle. I might not go and lift some weights,
Yeah,
but with jiu-jitsu, that's fine. I'll just go anyway. But yeah, I do. But they say that when you start breaking away from something, you have those breaks, and the breaks get
yeah,
longer and longer and longer. It's harder to go back.
yeah,
And I think that's why a lot of people do give up
yeah,
jiu-jitsu. They have a break, something
yeah,
happens in their life, they get injured, they have a baby,
yeah,
they have things going on, and social lives and that kind of stuff, and the
yeah,
break gets bigger and bigger. So they prioritize other things rather
yeah.
than keeping to that discipline of
I think
just training.
I think that's quite one thing to consider, how long the breaks between your training are. Not giving yourself a hard time, but just having that awareness. Is it once or twice a week? Are you then like 10 days out from training? Are you then 2 weeks out from training? Are the gaps in between when you train getting longer? And if they are, start pulling them back closer and closer together, at least something, so that you don't lose that energy for something that we're all in this art because we love it. And actually
Yeah.
what it gives us, all of the amazing things, the friendships, the community, there's just so many wonderful benefits for training jiu-jitsu.
I think so, and I love it. I feel like I just go and see my friends all the time, even if I'm teaching them. Just go and see my friends.
Oh, that's so nice. So I just want to share congratulations for April coming up for 2 years of you being a black belt. You host the London Women's Open Mat, and I know you've got some coming up in 2025. What else is coming up for you, and what are you working on at the moment?
So I teach a place called the Jiu Jitsu Sanctuary. It's in Chelmsford, Essex. So my goal is to keep training and building the women's team. I teach a mixed class as well, no gi. So it's my goal to make sure that that grows, spread the word. I'm still going to compete as much as I can as well. You say this podcast is coming out at the end of January, so
Yeah,
that'll be around the time of the Europeans. So I'll do that. There's already 4 of us in my division. It's Master
no,
4, Feather, Black Belt. And that's quite nice because I've competed against a couple of the girls before, and they're great. They give me a good challenge. So and then I'm going to probably do a couple more competitions, the big ones. Somebody said to me last night, actually, they said, oh, you only do the big competitions. And I said, well, that's where I can get the matches.
yeah,
So I'm hoping to go to Barcelona to the European Masters.
I would recommend it. I went last year. It was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I've been there a few times. I think I've done every belt. No, sorry, I did it from purple belt. I won my the open class at purple belt. There was no one in my division, so I went up and I fought
Yeah.
all the middleweights and, and beat them. That was quite nice. But I went back again at brown belt, and that was a disaster. But that was my first competition at black belt in April. So I got my black belt on the 21st of April, and the following weekend I competed. There was no one in my division, so again I went up a weight to 2 weights to middle, and it's fine, it's okay. I fought my friend, and we just had a really good roll. She beat me on 2 points, I think, or something like that. No, sorry, she passed my guard, so she got 3 points. So no, it's fine. It was just sort of, I wanted to break in the black belt, just get the first one out of the way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to the World Masters in Las Vegas at the end of August. I went this year, 2023, and I got gringoed. So
What does that mean?
gringo. So gringoed means it's a bit of a Brazilian term. So I didn't have a very good ref. I don't know if you know Oli Guedes. He wasn't my ref. He's my friend. I sent him the video and he said, "I'm so sorry, Jolie. I'm so sorry this happened to you. This ref was not good." Basically, I had a girl who just stalled in my guard. She did nothing, and she got 2 penalties, and there was still 2.5 minutes to go, and I should have been awarded 2 points. But I shouldn't have waited for the ref to possibly give me 2 points. I should have just gone mental and spazzed out. And anyway, I didn't. And lessons learned. But she went into the next round, which was the semi-final, and she got annihilated. So I thought, serves you right. But I'm going to go back in August with I think I'll be fully into my black belt then, and I would have trained a lot. I did a competition recently, and it was like my mindset had completely changed again, and I've got back into this. I suppose it's like the killer instincts.
Ooh.
You know, you have the, I'm going to go and do a competition and see where I get, or I'm going to go and win a competition. So it's a definite answer.
I love that.
I'm just gonna go there and win the competition. It'll be my 3rd time lucky at black belt doing the World Masters. I won it at blue belt. I medalled a purple and brown, but I'd like to win it at black belt. That'd be the ultimate. So that's my goal as well.
Okay,
so
that's amazing. You've given me some inspiration. Whilst I've got many logistics to organise to even get myself to World Masters in August as a blue belt, maybe it's on the cards. I will win at World Masters, if all the logistics happen. Okay, help me, people. Jolie, you are such an inspiration. I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. And if anyone wants to reach out to either of us, Jolie, I'm sure you're able to kind of field some kind of support. I'd really appreciate, you just, both of us being there for whoever needs support.
Yeah, I'm always happy to answer questions. I'm on social media, on Instagram. I'm happy to answer questions. People have lots of troubleshooting. If people see me at open mats or my open mats, ask me questions, roll with me. I'm always happy to help people. And that's one of the reasons why I carried on with, so London Women's Open Mat, that wasn't run by me. It was run by a lady called Meg Smithley, and she moved back to America or Canada. And my friend Hayley Carter, she said to me, would you be an admin for the Facebook page? So I said, yeah, no problem. But nothing was really happening with it for years and years. Yeah. So it was March 2022. I just revived it again. So Yeah, since then I've been doing it all, and it's become donation based. We raise money, and it's a good way to support other women
Yep.
who don't always have many people on the mats to train with that are their size, their sex, or their level. So it's
Yep.
nice for people to come and just have a really good time and enjoy the space, enjoy the time, and yeah, it's good fun.
Jolie, thank you so much. I will be making it over to the Jiu Jitsu Sanctuary. I've seen all the photos and all the socials, so it's on my list for 2025.
Good, good. Come get some recovery as well. We've got a wellness centre there. It's an amazing place.
Oh my goodness, I'm there. I'm there. Once again, Jolie, thank you so much.
Welcome.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for telling your friends about this show. And as soon as this episode ends, I'd really appreciate you dropping the show a rating and a review. Thanks again for listening. Catch you on the next episode of the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast.